North Cascades National Park has been on my bucket list for years, but when I heard about their reintroduction of grizzly bears, which was announced in 2024, I knew this park had to move up the priority list. This is park number 39 for my dad and I, and we are wildlife fanatics who also love a good hike. We set out to visit the park, but what is a true adventure without some unexpected twist?
The forest has been very, very interesting.
But it is stunning.
Quintessential PNW.
Black bear cubs purr when they're happy.
It's leaking a little bit.
What a beast.
These mushrooms are crazy. Okay, so our plan is to start here, go up, 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 and then here, probably end our hike. We don't know if we're gonna do this, because online it didn't say it was that bad, but this makes it sound kind of intense. Does that sound good?
Sounds good.
We've been hiking on a lot of exposed sections so far on this trip, so I will say hiking in a tree cover in the shade is really, really nice. But multiple people drawing pyramids in the exact same spot of Antarctica. We're 3 miles in. Trail's been very gradual so far. Starting to get a little steeper though, but it's very pretty. It's been under the tree cover, which is nice, and the forest has been very, very interesting.
Kind of left you on a cliffhanger there, didn't I? Well, what I meant by that was, ever since this Moss Ranger talk that my dad and I went to back in Mount Rainier, I've really been noticing the little small parts of forest way more than I ever have before. The forest is so beautiful and we focus so much on the big extravagant views, but oftentimes there's just as much beauty in the little small parts of the forest.
Okay, we think we are almost at the top.
The view at the top truly looks like something out of a screensaver, and what's super cool about these mountains is they are some of the most remote in the whole country.
Okay, at what will be our peak for the day, just chilling, eating, enjoying the views we can see. There's way more people than the parking lot would suggest. And it's a little buggy, but otherwise, yeah, we're good. We're gonna eat a little bit, then head down.
Just to clarify, we were pretty gassed at the end of this hike, and the hike does go further, but it involves some rock scrambling that we did not feel comfortable doing, so we rested a bit and then turned around. Anywho, back to the story.
These mushrooms are crazy. Do you see this yellow one? I don't want to touch that one. Truly amazing how long it can take to walk up a mountain, and how once you let gravity do the work, how quick you can come back down it. We're making quick progress, definitely working a different part of our muscles, but nothing bad. And it's cool to see everything from a new perspective, because when we were going up, we were breathing pretty hard. Oh my gosh. Wow. Well, good job.
Man, what a beast.
I know. How do you feel?
I feel satisfied.
Oh, good. Yeah, that was quite a hike.
Okay, done with the hike. We are driving on a crazy road back to the main road, and that was our first day in North Cascades. We're gonna get dinner, and then we have a couple different things to do at the campground to just kind of get ourselves clean, get ready for tomorrow. My dad has to go for a bike ride, all of that stuff. So, but that was crazy. We were just saying, you know, we will never forget that hike. It got very tiring, lots of hills, but it was a good one. And now we just get to chill. Tomorrow will be a chill day in North Cascades. We'll look at the overlook, do all of those things. I sound pretty optimistic there. Truth was, that hike was really, really hard, and we were pretty gassed at the end of it, so the next day we were determined to make it chill.
Morning. We have epically slept in today, but we are eating oatmeal right now, just chilling at camp, and then we're going to go around today, see the visitor center, do some small walks. If there's a viewpoint to drive to, probably do that. Kind of take it easy because our hike yesterday was a big one. When you first come in, there's a spot to back up your car. You have a nice picnic table with some instructions on how to stay safe from bears. There is a bear box. These are all the things that you're supposed to put in the bear box. There's also a fire pit, but fires are not allowed right now. So this is just for decoration. And this is our tent. It is a $50 Walmart tent from about 15 years ago, and it still does the job pretty well. We have a welcome mat, and this is what the inside looks like. We have these nice cots that I highly recommend if you're gonna be camping a lot. They're infinitely more comfortable than the ground. My little stuffed animal, sleeping bag, the blanket over there, and then this is my dad's side. And usually we have a little lantern hanging up there. But this has been our setup for 50 plus nights of camping, and it still works great, which just goes to show that you don't really need a super expensive camping setup to make a good experience. We have nicer gear for like backpacking and things like that, but for car camping, this works absolutely great. We've camped in a variety of different like weathers and temperatures, rain, sunshine, sand, mosquitoes, all that stuff, and it has always worked really well for us. Okay, off to the visitor center. You can walk there from the campground. Let me just take this moment to emphasize that a big part of why I think national parks are so incredible, particularly in the US, is that they have so many educational resources to not only make the outdoors super accessible to people, but also knowledge of the outdoors. The visitor centers are amazing. They have free park brochures, and oftentimes there's some sort of film or museum exhibit. They also have so many free talks at national parks that are genuinely like so interesting.
But this is going to be kind of a grizzly bear paw. So you can see that scoop-shaped claw for digging, and they're much longer than a black bear would be.
So even if you're a super hardcore hiker, I would highly recommend stopping at the visitor centers and supporting national parks that way, because this programming should always be protected. Okay, great time in the visitor center. We watched the movie, read the exhibits, went to the store, went to a ranger talk about bears, learned a lot. My biggest takeaway is bears can smell, black bears can smell up to 20 miles away. And my dad's biggest takeaway was what?
Black bear cubs purr when they're happy.
So we're gonna do the river loop trail now, and then I think the afternoon's gonna be spent just driving along the road, looking at the lake viewpoints, and hopefully there will be some scenic overlooks as well. To keep it upright?
Yeah, to keep it from falling.
Oh yeah. You can probably go inside this one. Lo and behold, this little random trail at the back of our campground in the back of the visitor center ended up being one of my favorites of the whole Pacific Northwest road trip. It's hard to fully explain. There's just something so peaceful about, number one, a river, but also just beautiful trees that have been there for hundreds of years, and not only that, but are protected. And just that type of forest environment, especially after knowing how complex the forest ecosystem is, it's just my favorite place in the world. What do we have here?
Trees that have germinated on top of the stump.
That is amazing.
Roots going down over there.
Wow. This is so beautiful. This is my honestly favorite type of landscape. Forest, and there's a river, and there's some mountains and big trees and some rain and moss everywhere. It's just beautiful. This is quintessential PNW. Okay, fantastic trail. Really fun, especially because I was like right by our campsite. Now, we're probably gonna take a quick break and then go out and explore more of the park road, Highway 20, North Cascades Highway, to hopefully see some viewpoints. It rained just a little bit, but it stopped now and the sun's back out.
So one of the interesting things about North Cascades that I didn't necessarily know before coming to the park was that there's part of the park that is not actually the park. It's actually just designated forest land, and the park and this land is kind of intermingled. So a fun fact is that the campsite is technically not actually in the national park, but the main road that I'm talking about cuts through parts of the park, but it's also just a beautiful road, and there's tons of beautiful stops. So if you don't have time, or if you aren't able to do like a massive hike in North Cascades, riding this road is still definitely a good idea.
That was Gorge Creek, which is connected to the dam that powers some of Seattle, and there was a really cool metal bridge that you could walk over. So we're gonna continue along. This is not technically in the national park. It's kind of weird. The main road that goes through the park is not part of the park. The park is kind of separated between north and south, which I didn't really know when we first came here. So just something to be aware of. But yeah, we're gonna stop at, I think the next stop will be Diablo Lake. There could be a grizzly in North Cascades. They're like, when they were talking about the wolves and how the wolves, they were gonna reintroduce them and then they just came back on their own.
Yeah, I never heard of that. That's cool.
That is cool. It was like a pack and then a pair, but there's nothing stopping, you know, a grizzly from just like wandering over.
I wonder what the grizzly bear status just north of the border is like.
I don't know. I was wondering that too.
In all seriousness, I believe the Grizzly project does not have a timeline on it, but I'm so interested in the project. So if anyone has any information about the restoration project, or even any fun facts about grizzlies, leave them in the comments. Okay, back to the video.
It is raining a little bit, but it's very pretty.
Okay, that was probably my favorite view from the park so far. It was very pretty. We have one last stop on this little route, and it is the Ross Lake Overlook. So we'll see that one and then probably head back to the campsite. It's like 4:30-ish. Okay, that was not the Ross Lake Overlook, but it was a network of trails that we went just a little bit down, and it was really nice. The storm is starting to roll in, so I think we're gonna try to find the Ross Lake Overlook and then go back to the campsite, and hopefully it's not raining too much at the campsite. It is officially raining, so we are gonna go back to the campsite and probably just chill for a little bit. We were just reflecting on North Cascades, and you know, as national park people, it is a little bit of a different national park because the visitor center and the a lot of the campgrounds like aren't even on national, like technically in the national park, but it is stunning. You know, it's cool that it is a national park because I don't know if we would have gotten up here if it wasn't. But if you're going and you're expecting, I guess, the complete normal national park experience, it will be a little bit different. Not in a bad way, just in a different way. Some serious hiking you can do around here. Like some serious hiking. So it definitely is that going for it. Okay, checked on the tent and everything. Apparently it's leaking a little bit, which this tent sometimes does, but it's nothing too major. It is scheduled to stop raining and just a little bit, but then it'll start back up again later tonight. But we are going to get dinner at the same place for the 3rd day in a row. But it's a super good restaurant.
Park number 39. Nice. We were talking last night and we both kind of agree that North Cascades might be our favorite campground that we've ever stayed at in the National Park Service. It's really big, beautiful lot, very calm and relaxing. Bathrooms are clean, so it's a real shame to leave this place. But onwards to National Park number 40 and the last stop on this Washington State National Parks road trip. It was a semi-rainy night last night, so as everyone is coming out of their RVs and tents this morning, things are definitely a little bit more damp than when we went to bed last night, but nothing bad. Nothing compares to Florida and how absolutely soaking wet we got there. Okay, this puddle is where we slept last night. This wasn't that, but it was a rainy night. Bye-bye. Goodbye, North Cascades.